Yo, how's everyone doing? Welcome back for some more Forza Horizon 3. Today I just wanted to do a comparison of the Lamborghini Centenario and also the Porsche 918 Spyder, and I recently made a tune for both of these cars, putting them at the top of the S2 class, but I realized that these cars have a lot in common. They're both all-wheel drive, they're both hypercars, and they also both perform very similarly, and they also both happen to be two of my favorite cars in Forza Horizon 3. But if you look through the stats, and also if you have driven both of these tunes, you're going to realize that these cars are very similar indeed. But the question is, which one is better? And I do have an answer for you, but first we're going to talk about the two cars and compare them a little bit. And the first thing is launch. Which car launches better? And I think launch goes to the Centenario. I think it has a little bit better grip, and that causes it to get off the line a little bit faster than what the Porsche 918 does. But let's talk about acceleration and speed. Now, with my tunes in the S2 class, I think the speed is very comparable, very similar, and about the same. But the thing is, the acceleration is certainly different. I think the acceleration goes to the Porsche 918. The Centenario, it honestly feels a little bit heavier than the Porsche 918, but believe it or not, the 918 is about 100 to 150 pounds heavier than the Centenario with the S2 tunes that I have on these cars, so that kind of surprised me. I kind of felt like the Centenario was heavier, especially because it has a V12 engine, but the 918 does have a very unique motor, and I don't know too much about the details of it, but the thing that really surprises me is that the Porsche 918 actually has about 350 more torque than does this Centenario with the way I have them tuned. And the thing is, they feel very similar, but the acceleration is definitely faster with the Porsche 918, and although the weight is not too much different, the Centenario doesn't feel that much slower in terms of acceleration, but it is a noticeable difference. It's something I certainly noticed when I raced the two cars, and I think the 918 is definitely faster overall just because of that power difference, and the horsepower is close, but the 918 still has more horsepower. But that leaves us with the handling characteristics. Which car handles better and brakes better, corners better, turns better? And the Centenario, I think, has a little bit better braking, and that is proven statistically as well. I think it feels better, but in terms of cornering, there is no doubt in my mind that the Centenario is the better car at cornering. I think this thing is absolutely crazy how I can just go full throttle and not have to even worry about going around some really sharp bends at very high, super fast speeds. I mean, I was just amazed what this car was capable of, and the 918 can do it as well, but not quite as good as the Centenario. So overall, I think the 918 is faster, but the Centenario has better handling, so it's kind of tough to choose between these two cars. And I personally do think the Porsche 918 looks a little bit nicer and definitely sounds nicer, but the way I determined which car I think is actually better is by my race times, because I tested these cars super extensively on this racetrack right here over and over, both cars tweaking around with the tunes, and I ended up actually getting a faster time with the Porsche 918. So right here is my fastest Centenario time, and that's very high up on the leaderboards. But I raced the Porsche 918 again after I made that tune, and I ended up getting a faster time, and this time is actually faster than any Centenario in the world on this particular racetrack. So I think that proves it, and honestly it is very tough to make a comparison of cars because of the tuning in the game. Everybody tunes differently, and there's so many different possibilities, so it's very hard to make an honest and true comparison. But the thing is, I tested both of these cars so many times on the same racetrack. I tuned both of these cars. They're both at the top of the S2 class. The stats are all very similar, and if you watch the gameplay, you'll probably notice that the cars both drive very similarly as well, but the Centenario just has a little bit better handling, and the 918 is just a little bit faster, but it is faster, and the handling is good enough that it makes it a faster car, especially on these high-speed sprint races. But I'm certainly probably going to test these cars again once I make an X-Class tune for both of the cars, but it's very tough, like I said, because everyone tunes differently, so some people might not see this as an honest and true comparison, but I felt like it was, so I wanted to share this. But I would love to hear everyone else's opinions. Which car do you think is better, the Centenario or the Porsche 918 Spyder? But as always, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to y'all again very soon. Peace out.